topic is about holding difficult conversations. And our special guest is my lovely friend, Marta Cisneros. She's from Madrid. She's a writer. She is a former lawyer, and now she's a certified leadership coach. She's also a mother of two, and she has, because she was a mother, she also decided to go on a trip around the world and make different career choices. I'm sure there's a lot of difficult conversation with kids and other people in your life. So Marta, welcome.
Thank you, Sas. And as you can imagine, as a lawyer, yes, I had to deal with many difficult conversations. And as a mother of now teenagers, too,
skilled.
Yeah, I still have to deal with that.
Okay, so talk to me about what is a difficult conversation?
So a difficult conversation is a conversation where you basically feel very uncomfortable. Maybe because you don't know what to say about it. The issue, the topic, is not a topic that you're feeling comfortable about. Maybe it's a sensitive topic. There may be clashes in personality, for example.
Oh yeah, I recognize that one. Or with cultural differences, having conversation with people that culturally have a different way of perceiving input. And yeah, we can make mistakes there, definitely.
Giving and receiving feedback is also difficult.
For some people.
Difficult conversation for many people.
And I'm also thinking, sometimes there's, like as a change manager, I've been in projects where leaders had to explain that maybe like a disentanglement would happen or a standalone process, but without understanding or knowing the outcome. So people get very insecure, and it's a difficult conversation to have because you know they will ask you, and that means what for me? So what's in it for me if you don't know? That's a very difficult conversation to have. And I guess some exit interviews with very much emotionally loaded exchanges can be very difficult. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I can also imagine some people that are listening to our podcast today are maybe very skilled in this, and others think, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me, how do I do this? And so why don't we introduce a kind of 3-step framework that we feel could help you to navigate different difficult conversations in a very professional way with a desired outcome. So shall we talk about this 3-step framework? So we've got 3 elements, and the first one is preparing. The second one, as you go in the conversation, there is staying connected, and you know, there's 2-3 steps on how to do that. And then after that, there is the moment where you're going to be talking about how you see things, and it's all about remaining engaged so that you can really help people into an action plan to get desired outcome. I think that's more or less how it looks like. Yeah. So, Marta, the floor is yours. Tell us more about each phase.
Prepare before you go into the meeting, into the conversation. It's about preparing the facts, the intention. Why is it that you want to have that conversation?
It is so true, because sometimes something is a one-off, and then we're going to go and have difficult conversations. So asking indeed the question, is it necessary? Why am I having this conversation? Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Yeah. I also remember sometimes that we ask ourselves, am I the right person to hold this conversation? Or should it be somebody from HR or a more senior person?
That's true. And also you need to be honest about how did I contribute to this situation?
Yeah, we often don't do that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's already nerve-wracking. The whole difficult conversation it's an uncomfortable space. There's stress, there's worry, and then if you don't own up to maybe I didn't address this behavior often enough, and now we're at this point. Okay, fair enough.
We didn't address the conversation before.
Yeah. And then what else?
Documents.
The preparations.
Documents, like checking the policies, if you need to reach out with legal department or HR.
Yeah, getting facts and figures in your contracts. Okay, so that's a good preparation. Very important. Next, we have delivering and, going into the conversation.
And here it's important to understand and to share why is it important to have this conversation and what is the topic, to be very clear about the topic.
Yeah, I can also imagine that besides the topic, what you want to achieve out of a conversation. So it's really framed and set up in a way that people are clear on what's going to happen, which already, I guess, takes away some of the nervousness because then at least it's focused.
And you need also to check in what was the behavior and also what is the impact of that behavior.
Yeah, it's a good framing out of, this is what we're going to talk about. Yeah, I think that's fair. And then the behavior so that we can at least address that. So what happens after that? So that's clarification of this is a conversation, what we're talking about, why it's important, the behavior we want to see different, and the impact it's causing today. And then what?
And then it's about listening the other person's perspective and asking questions to better understand their perspective.
Okay. And so that means the other person speaks first.
Yeah. Which is something we are not used to do, isn't it?
No, but I can imagine that if you let other people speak first and give their opinion, they might give some information you didn't know. Okay.
And you can even adjust what you're going to say later based on the information that you receive.
And I guess it clarifies also what are the similarities that you both feel about this behavior and what are the differences so that you can really come to what you really want to address. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's one part, I guess, of the connection and the person then giving all that information. And then what happens?
And also the other person feels heard and seen, which is very important. And then it's your turn to ask if it's okay for you to share your perspective. And also to see and to acknowledge what are the agreements, what are the things, the common ground, and the things that you don't agree and are different.
So what I can imagine is also there's room for, in the differences, discussing what is different and maybe coming to a new agreement or not. And so what happens then next? So we've made it clear, we framed it, we said this is behavior and the impact. Next, we invited the employee to share their opinion, their views, identifying what are similarities and difficulties, and listening to them, asking questions for clarification. That gives you new information. Then you give your view. But I can imagine if that information reveals something you didn't know, you might, rephrase your view or maybe adapt how you see your things and make that clear too. So,
yes. Adjusting is always needed. And sometimes you need to be more direct. So it's okay, I listen to you, and this is my perspective, or this is the perspective of the company, and also this is what needs to happen.
So that means directing into, even though we disagree, this is the behavior and this is how we want to see it. And then what happens?
Then once you talk about what needs to happen is how do we move forward to make it happen?
And that, I guess, it gets very concrete.
Action
plans.
Yeah.
So action plans, timings.
Who, what needs to be done, by when, very concrete.
Okay.
Very specific.
And then I guess also how you can help as a leader.
Yeah. And also it's very important to check in if they understood.
Okay.
The actions and what, by when, all these things are very important.
So I guess then you get writing it all down and making sure everybody agrees to it and commits to it is going to be very crucial to make sure this is really going to happen, to not have a difficult conversation again the next time. So then what happens then?
Appreciation is also very important. To appreciate that they had that conversation because it's difficult.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to end the conversation.
Or maybe give some recognition.
And give some recognition. Fair. And so after that all happened, I guess the conversation is closed. You thank them. You have a clear action plan. There's timing. There's your role. And then what are the most important things that sometimes we forget?
We make sure that we are aligned once more. I think check-in is always needed.
And having commitment, I guess, too. And then taking notes.
Yes.
Taking notes. So.
And follow up.
And follow up, progress follow up. So I guess one more thing is, if a conversation really gets very uncomfortable, one of two don'ts that you can suggest to our listeners is what?
Do not gossip.
Oh my God, yeah, don't go and tell people about it.
Yeah,
Very
respect secrecy, yeah.
Yeah, the vault principle of Brené Brown.
And don't treat the person differently.
Oh my God, yes.
You know.
Like, shame them for what just happened by ignoring them, and everybody can understand this didn't go well. Well, thank you for that explanation, Marta. And to close off, as you know, we play a little game. I'm going to read some statements, and then I'm going to ask you just to complete the sentences. So, what's the worst thing you can do in a difficult conversation?
I would say not having one.
Not having one. Okay, question number 2, or statement number 2. Fear and judgments are?
Bad advisors.
Bad advisors.
Yeah.
3, building trust with another person starts with?
Being open to your own vulnerability.
Especially in difficult conversations. So, next one. Most people believe?
The difficult conversations create separation.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that thought. I have no tolerance or understanding for?
People shouting and screaming when they are going through difficult conversations.
Yeah, that's like a killer.
Yeah.
So last question. One great advice you received about having a difficult conversation is?
Focusing on the relationship. That will help you to forget about yourself.
I like that. Focus on, yeah, because it is about human interaction at the end of the day. And yeah, I love that intention. Very good. Thank you once again for being here, and thank you all for listening. So it's like, again, a great opportunity to share our wisdom, hopefully in a very relatable way and applicable way. So I hope our session will help you to redefine your way of looking at how to have difficult conversations. And I hope you see it for what it is, that is helping you skill up so that you can unlock your leadership and grow and develop. Good luck in having difficult conversations.